Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Serving in cups and jugs, glass of wine. Now you say, haram. How can Allah give wine in Jannah? Allah says, subhanAllah, this is the purest wine which is allowed that Allah has made in Jannah for the people of Jannah. Wherein you will not get intoxicated, neither you will have a headache. Subhanallah. So now we know what this alcohol does. First of all, it gives us a headache. Second, intoxicates us. Third, the most stupid and disgusting thing is you vomit. Right? You see these guys, they overdrink and then they just puke. Allahu Akbar. So, Allah says that they will be in Jannah reclining, immortal boys will be serving wines, and Alhamdulillah. Then Allah says that they can choose from any fruit they want. Ayah number 20, they can choose from any fruit they want, fruit. And then Allah mentions that they can choose from any flesh of birds. Any bird they want to eat. They just name it, Ya Allah, tandoori chicken. Khalas, it's there. Alright? So, adhan? Alright. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that Allah has made specially for them hurul ain. Women hurs, alright, with beautiful eyes. Ain is eyes, with beautiful eyes. And for them especially, and their eyes are like preserved pearls. And Allah then mentioned a reward for what they used to do. A reward for what they used to do. Have we mentioned did Allah mention what they did? Did Allah mention anywhere what they did? No. Allah just mentioned the foremost will be closest. They will be in Jannah, in thrones and of gold. They will have immortal boys serving. They will sit and enjoy food and fruit and flesh, and they will have wives. For what they did, that's it. Then Allah says, no laghwa. No laghwa means no dirty talk, no evil talk, no vulgarity would be in Jannah. Except, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, but only what? Salamun salam. Salaman salam. Everything will be just peace and peace. Nothing, no vulgarity. And then Allah ends this section. Ends the closest. So now we finished the first group. Do we know what they did? No, we don't. So we need to look at some other aspects, some other sections of the Quran, and this is what tafsir does, right? This surah does not tell what they did. So let's pick up some verses from the Quran which tell what they did and try to put down points. Okay, if I do this, inshallah, I will be foremost. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Imran, Surah number 3, ayah number 18, that the best of people, right, are 5 categories. Number 1, Allah mentioned 5 in consecutive words. Number 1, He says, الصابرون والصادقون والقانتين الصابرين والصادقين والقانتين والمنفقين والمستغفرين بالأسحار. 5 things. Allah says الصابرين, those who are really, really patient, those who have patience. والصادقين, those who are truthful. والقانتين, those who are firm in obedience. والمنفقين, those who spend. والمستغفرين, those who seek forgiveness. But not just any part of the day. Allah says ashar, a time that you eat sahur. When do you eat sahur? After Fajr? Just before Zuhr? When do you eat sahur? Way before Fajr. The time of Qiyamul Layl. So Allah says, Mustaghfirina bil ashar. They seek forgiveness of Allah at the time of sahur. Ashar. And just not one night. Ashar is every night. Plural. Every night. Night after night. Night after night. Right? Sahara, ashar. Plural. That's one group of people. Second group of people that Allah mentioned is about the companions of the Quran. Subhanallah. In Surah Fatir, Surah number 32, ayah number 35, Allah mentions that Allah will give the wirasat. Allah will give the Quran as wirasat, as inheritance to 3 kinds of people. Number 1, who commit sins. Number 2, who are in the middle part. And number 1, Allah mentions وَالسَّابِقُونَ بِالْخَيْرِ, those who are foremost in khair. And Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu in the tafsir, he says, these are the people who are closest to Allah, and they will enter Jannah without account. So now we know something phenomenal. that Allah did mention in this surah, but the other in hadith and other stuff in other surahs. What? That the closest people to Allah will enter Jannah without hisab. Subhanallah. From the closest people, they will enter Jannah without hisab. And this is what Allah's Messenger ﷺ says, a hadith, that 70,000 people, min ummati, from my ummah, 70,000, sab'una alfan, 70,000 people, yadkhulul Jannah, will enter Jannah. Why? La yatatayyaruna. They will not believe in bad omens. They will not believe in omens at all. Black shirt, blue shirt, red tie, this car, that road, cat crossing, somebody sneezing. All this is just omens. You don't believe in this. Right? You enter somebody's house, you'll find one red color pocket packet, one nimbu, right? Lime and chili. What's this, brother? Subhanallah. You buy your 18 lakh car and you put a lime and a chili there. Right? Allahu Akbar. Come on. You don't spend so much of money to believe in omens. Right? When you spend money, know that you trust that engine and you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A lime can't do anything to that engine. Right? So Allah says, La tatayaruna, who don't believe in omens, but they put their trust, wa ala rabbihim yatawakkalun. They put their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah says, these are the people, they will enter Jannah. Where? Sayadkhuluna Jannah bi ghayri hisab. Allahu Akbar. Without hisab. Bi ghayr is without. Hisab is account. Without hisab. Where are they? They are the foremost. Another thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Imran, Surah number 3, ayah number 133. The same thing mentioned in Surah Hadith, Surah 57, ayah number 21. Similar ayats. Allah says, وَالسَّابِقُوا. Race, run towards Allah. Run towards the maghfirah of Allah. Run towards His Jannah. And then Allah gives a description of those people. They pray salah in the most perfect ways. They do this, they fast. They suppress their anger and so on. Right? They are the muttaqeen. So, in short, the closest people are the muttaqeen. The closest people are the muttaqeen. Next, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that there will be no laghwa but only peace and only peace. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the second group. And He mentions that وَأَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ. And about the second group, about the companions of the right side, Allah says, مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ. What? مَا أَصْحَابُ الْمَيْمَنَةِ. Sorry. مَا أَصْحَابُ الْيَمِينِ. مَا أَصْحَابُ الْيَمِينِ. وَمَا أَصْحَابُ الْيَمِينِ. مَا أَصْحَابُ الْيَمِينِ. So, what are the people of the right side? What are the people of the right side? Now again note whether Allah tells what they do. Alright, let's see if Allah tells something that they do. Allah says that they will be amongst the lotus trees. They will be amongst the gardens. But Allah didn't mention Jannah immediately. Right? Allah mentions that they will be in Jannah, but Allah mentioned the first ayat about Muqarrabeen that they'll be in Jannah. Here Allah mentioned they will be in gardens, in lotus trees. Alright, and then they will have fruits one above the other, piled above the other, and in long shades, extended shades. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, and water flowing constantly, and fruits in plenty, whose season will not stop, and the supply will never be cut. So now again Allah gives the description of Jannah, but He doesn't mention they'll be in Jannah, but He says that they're going to get all this. Correct? Allah mentioned the word Jannah directly for the Muqarrabeen. But even though this is Jannah, but Allah raised the rank of the Muqarrabeen. But then the same thing, alright? Then Allah mentions that there's one verse that I want to whose fruits, whose supply will not be cut off, and in thrones raised high. Alright? Then Allah mentions, we have created for them special maids, and who've never been touched, and they will love their husbands, and they will be in equal age. And this is for the people of the right. And then Allah mentions, before I come to this, let's pause and let's look at the difference between this Jannah this group and the right group. Alright? When Allah spoke about Jannah, He used the word Jannah for whom? The closest. One. Then He used the word thrones, but made of what? Gold and precious pearls. Then He used fruits, and then He used flesh of birds, whatever, and then He's extended. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, for them, they will be raised in high thrones. That's it. But with gold and precious pearls were given to the other group. Then Allah mentioned that Hurun Ain for this group, and women made specially for their husbands in equal age for this group. And then fruits and so on. Both of them are Jannah. Both are Jannah. But the only thing, the degree and the darajat, the grade differs. The grade of Jannah differs. And from this we know that there are grades in Jannah. And how many grades are there in Jannah? Alhamdulillah, we know there are 7 grades. Ya Allah, make us from the Jannatul Firdaus. Right? Like I said, don't pray just to enter. Right? Ya Allah, just one leg, that's it. No. Alright? Always try to aim the highest. You fall short, you'll at least be in 5th or 6th. What if you just want to enter and you fall short? Allahu Akbar. The gate will be closed and you'll be like, Ya Allah. Right? You don't want to do that on the day of judgment where everybody is entering and then you're like, no admission ticket. So, always Allah's Messenger said, whenever you make dua for Jannah, make it for Firdaus, Al-Firdaus. Alright? Then Allah's Messenger says, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the people entering it. Now let's go back to that section of the Muqarrabun. How many people were entering it from the first generations? Massive, large number. How many from the later generations, from our generations? Qaleel, the word Qaleel. You know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says for the people of the right hand? Subhanallah. He says a large number from the first generations, and a large number from the present, the akhirin. And I'll read that ayat so that you understand both the ayats. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ثُلَّاثٌ مِّنَ الْأَوَّلِينَ وَثُلَّاثٌ مِّنَ الْآخِرِينَ. The same word, thulath, is mentioned. That a magnitude, the majority of the people will be from the later, and the majority of the people will be from the previous and the later generations. So if you just put a line and say number of people from the previous generation in the closest to Allah, say 80-20. This group on the right hand side, number of people from both the generations, 50-50. Alhamdulillah, some hope, right? And Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anh says, the group on the right is the one that will be questioned and inshallah will be forgiven. Alhamdulillah. But they will be questioned. Alright? As Allah's Messenger says, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Fatir, that there are 3 kinds of people who will inherit the Quran, who will be the companions of the Quran. The third group is the Sabiq, the foremost in deeds, bil khair. And they will enter Jannah without hisab. The other 2 groups, Allah will call to hisab and will forgive their sins, will overlook their sins, yet, and alhamdulillah, they will enter Jannah. But they will have to give hisab. Meaning they'll have to stand and go through the process of the day of judgment. And they will be in a state of a little bit of fear at least. Because for a fact that they were going to be questioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that وَأَصْحَابُ الشِّمَالِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الشِّمَالِ. And as for the people of the left hand, right? What do you know? What are the people of the left hand? Now we know. Where is the closest group going into? Where? Jannatul Firdaus, right? Or Jannah. Where the people of the right going to? Come on. Jannah. Alright? So your dua should be, Ya Allah, either put me in with the Muqarrabin, if not, at least from the people of Yameen, Ashabul Yameen. That's it. Because by Allah, you don't want to be on the left side. Because now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the people of Jahannam. And may Allah save us from that. Ameen. So then Allah says, وَأَصْحَابُ الشِّمَالِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الشِّمَالِ. And as for the people of the left hand, what are they? Who are they? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, they will be in fierce hot wind and in boiling water. Right? Allahumma musta'an. And a shadow of... Now, I forgot this. Let me just come back before we get into this. Did Allah mention the deeds that these people did? The people of the right. Think again. Did Allah mention the deeds that the people of Muqarrabun did? No. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not mentioned the deeds that these two groups did. Alright? Subhanallah. Then, so let's now look at some of the people of the right. What are their deeds? Alright? Allah mentions, and Allah's Rasul also mentions that these people on the right have balanced deeds. Meaning they've done good and they've done bad. But alhamdulillah, Allah's mercy is that Allah has overlooked their sins. And I always say this beautiful example. I love this example and I want to show it again. Right? For this ummah of Prophet Muhammad, now just think of the mercy of Allah. Right? For this ummah of Prophet Muhammad, one good deed is multiplied how many times? One evil deed is multiplied how many times? Just once. So one deed, bad deed is one. One good deed is how many good deeds? 10. So if the balance is equal, 500 versus 500, how many good deeds have you actually done? 50. And how many evil deeds have you done? Subhanallah. Think again. The people of the right are the ones who've committed sins, but their deeds, their good deeds are more or equal. Correct? Their good deeds are more or equal. 50 good deeds versus 500 bad deeds. What's the ratio? 90-10. Yes or no? 1:90. It's about 90% of your life you've sinned, and yet Allah has made you right on the right hand side. 500 sins, 50 good deeds, yet Allah chooses you to be on the right. Subhanallah. Isn't that Allah's mercy? Something that He saw good in you and me. One salah that you prayed was fascinating. That's it. One salah of your life that you said, I'm going to turn off this match and go to the masjid. One salah that you must have prayed at Fajr. That was so fascinating that Allah said, Subhanallah, this guy's going to be on the right. Amazing. Something always, brothers, know that you and I, let's face the fact, right? I don't know about you, I can never be in the Muqarrabun. Right? Let's face the fact. Allah says majority. Even if we are from the companion of the right, let us at least try to make the good even better. Even though it's only 10%, at least make it acceptable before Allah. Let us not be the people who are doing that 10% and yet think that we are doing too much. That's the problem that you and I have. That's exactly the Muslim problem today. 10% we do, and so, Subhanallah, 90% of my life I'm so nice, man. How can I go to Jahannam? Allahu Akbar. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. Right? Brothers, never be overconfident. Ibrahim alayhi salam, one of the biggest prophet, builds the Kaaba, and what did he say? Oh Allah, Rabbana taqabbal dua. Oh Allah, accept this from me. Allahumma taqabbal minna. Oh Allah, accept this from me. You and I pray salah after salah, and don't even ask for acceptance. Ibrahim alayhi salam made something that Allah commanded, and he said, oh Allah, at least accept this from me. Come on, you and I can be much better in asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept 10% of our deeds. That's it. Right? Alhamdulillah. So now we come to the people of Shimal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, what do you know? I mean, Ma ashab al-Shimal, what are the people of the Shimal? Allah says they will be in hot wind and boiling water. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, a shadow of black smoke. Neither cool nor good. And verily, before this, they did certain things. Now Allah